When you look out at media today, do you see quite a few different versions of Christians? Different people who would call themselves Christians, but when you look at their actions or you look at their words, you think, oh, that's not anything like how I behave as a Christian. Of course, that is a really slippery slope to lead into a space of judgment. And Christians have a pretty poor track record throughout history of being judgmental and hypocritical. So we don't want to go there. And that aside, I'm recalling a certain line from Matthew 7 that says, "Judge not, that ye not be judged." Instead, I look at this broad range of different denominations and different flavors of Christianity, and I can't help but wonder, who am I to say that what I believe is right and somebody else is wrong? I am a big fan of turning to the Bible when we've got questions like that. And I want to read a piece that might be familiar to you from Galatians 5. The fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, generosity, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. And I see this as such a great way for us to test our own words and actions. Not to be drawn into judgment of others using these criteria, because you don't know anything about how somebody else's life is shaped, but you know a lot about yourself. So when you look at your own actions or thoughts or words, are they sharing love, joy, peace, patience, and kindness and generosity? Are you experiencing faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control? These words are in fact tools that Paul gave to the people in Galatia in his letter to them, because they were dealing with very much the same thing as we see today. They had many different stories and versions of Christianity. And this is in the very early days of Christianity. There were people who were still alive who had experienced Jesus firsthand. And then there were others who were talking about him from stories they had heard. And not surprisingly, there were different versions of what should or should not be done that were cropping up. Some people drew heavily from the ancient Jewish traditions and said, you need to follow these rules as well as following Jesus. And then there were others said, no, the old rules don't matter as much, but you need to follow Jesus and the gospel of unconditional love. I must admit, I find some comfort in recognizing that throughout history, we have bumped up against these sorts of differences. And that doesn't mean that any of us are bad Christians. It means that we are exploring and wondering and trying to figure out our relationship with God and with each other. And that's one of the best reasons to have the words of the Bible. We can go back and look at how these ancient people dealt with these same questions. We can see the humanity in the wondering and the discussions and downright arguments in some cases. And in the midst of this, rather than Paul telling one group they're right and one group they're wrong, he says, here's how to figure it out for yourself. If you look at your own actions and your own words and your own thoughts, and you find love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, generosity, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control, then you are definitely on the right path. You don't have to follow one tradition or another. Those things help you know that you're following Jesus. And let's be honest, if you do put effort into things like patience and kindness and gentleness, you're probably going to be a lot less judgy anyhow. And there will be more room in your life for all the other flavors and types of Christianity. So when we look at our siblings in Christ, there is so much strength to be found in similarities, so much beauty to be found in our differences, and so much diversity to be found all across the world. Friends, let's embrace all of our Christian siblings, no matter what their traditions are and whether or not we agree with them. Thank you so much for watching. If this sort of content resonates with you, I invite you to click the thumbs up so that YouTube knows about that, or maybe you can click the subscribe button. Or you can watch this video. I love you all. See you soon. Bye for now.